Welcome to the weekly sports report. I am Chi-Town Guy 89, and this week has been crazy in the world of the NFL. And let's get right down to it. Monday, 49ers middle linebacker Patrick Willis, and it's been reported, I haven't heard if it's been made official, but defensive tackle Justin Smith both retired. Now, Patrick Willis will retire as a 7-time Pro Bowler and never play a game in his 30s. And that's insane. And then Justin Smith, he's had a relatively long career, but I didn't particularly see that coming. And that also will affect how Aldon Smith does, because Aldon Smith and Justin Smith work together a lot. Justin Smith would push the pocket, which would give Aldon Smith a bigger gap to go in off the edge and get to the quarterback. So now will his production drop if he does without Justin Smith to help on some of those stunts? But time will tell. Also, the 49ers lost Michael Crabtree, who I don't remember if he signed anywhere, but it doesn't look like he's going back to the 49ers, and Frank Gore. So they just went from perennial NFC West champions to perennial top 5 draft pick. Now, in other news, the Colts signed Andre Johnson and Frank Gore, bringing them back together from their University of Miami days. So now Andrew Luck has another big target, and they have a guy who can run the ball. So the Colts might be really scary, and they might be a lot more of a threat, because Andrew Luck is a stud, an absolute stud. He is the next guy to be the best quarterback in the league. And now he has one of the top probably 15 receivers of all time and a really good running back. So time will tell, but I would be scared of the Colts no matter what team I was in the AFC this year. And then the Saints traded Jimmy Graham to the Seahawks for a center. That blew my mind. You take Jimmy Graham, one of the top 2 tight ends in the league, one of the top targets for Drew Brees in an offense that could be one of the most high-powered any given year. And you trade him for Max Unger, a center. Jimmy Graham had to have given them a reason to trade him, because you don't trade a guy like Jimmy Graham without him giving you a reason to get him out of there. Now, on to the Eagles. They made a big splash, probably the biggest splash of any team so far in the offseason. And it started last week when they traded LaShawn McCoy to the Bills for Kiko Alonso. And at first that left me scratching my head. You take one of the best running backs in the league and trade him for a third-year inside linebacker who's only played one full year because he got injured in his second year. But Chip Kelly knows Kiko. He was his coach at Oregon. And then the Eagles let Jeremy Maclin go, or they didn't re-sign him because he was a free agent, and he went and signed with Kansas City, who didn't have a single touchdown from wide receivers this past season. So that's an upgrade right there. And I believe the Chiefs let Dwayne Bowe walk out the door in free agency. I don't know where he went. And the Eagles also picked up Walter Thurmond, and I'm drawing a blank on the other guy's name, but the other two corners from Seattle. And they helped shore up their very, very, very poor pass defense from last year. And then they went and made the biggest trade when they traded Nick Foles and a second-round pick next year and a fourth-round this year to St. Louis for Sam Bradford and a fifth-rounder this year. Sam Bradford, number one pick 5 years ago. He's barely been able to stay on the field. He's got a huge cap number. He's got, I believe, 1 year left on his deal? And in the parameters of the trade, if Bradford is not Philly's starting quarterback this year for it's a certain number of games, they get the second-round pick next year back. And then they go today and sign DeMarco Murray. And what at first didn't make sense all came together and made sense. DeMarco Murray and Sam Bradford were teammates and best friends at Oklahoma during their college days. They both worked very, very well in a spread up-tempo system. And Chip Kelly in Philadelphia runs an up-tempo spread system. So he's giving them every tool to succeed. And to me, the Eagles are either going to flop and go 3-13, or they're going to soar, pun intended, and go 13-3 and be a legitimate threat. And in other news, Jake Locker, quarterback from the Titans, retired after 3 years in the league. He was, I believe, he was a top 10 pick, if I'm not mistaken, in 2011. And then he retired because he said he lost the passion for the game. And that boggled my mind. I did not see that coming at all. And then that's about it for the big trades and free agents. But a rumor I heard, Adam Schefter was on The Herd with Colin Cowherd this morning and said he had heard rumblings that New Orleans and Tampa Bay were looking to trade Drew Brees for the number one overall pick. And if that happens, you can just take any bit of what you expect this NFL season to be and toss it in the trash. Because this offseason has been shaking everything up. And it just shows that from 1 year to the next, you don't know what's going to happen in the NFL. The Cowboys lost their leading rusher. Now, I expected that to happen after they signed Des Bryant to their franchise tag. But what are they going to do? Are they going to replace that production with someone in the team? Are they going to draft someone? Are they going to draft Todd Gurley? Because if I was a team in need of a running back, I would do whatever I could to get my hands on Todd Gurley, because Todd Gurley out of Georgia is the best running back to come out of the draft in a long, long time. Possibly the best since Adrian Peterson. But that'll do it for me for this week. I will see you next week. And until then, I will catch you all on the flip side.